Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Restya Fima Aghsilni. So I would like to present my article. The title of my article is Student Perception Using Google Classroom in Online Learning in the Midst of COVID-19 Pandemic. In early 2020, the world experienced a mass pandemic. The pandemic is caused by a virus. Several countries in the world, including Indonesia, have been affected by a virus called coronavirus. Based on data from the Johns Hopkins University Science and Engineering Systems Center, there are 8,000 positive cases in Indonesia as of 2020 and continue to increase until now. The existence of this virus causes the entire world to experience a long-term pandemic. Instead of implementing a national lockdown, the government has focused on limiting social activities. Not only impact on several sectors, but the spread of this virus also has a major impact on education system in Indonesia. The situation makes the learning system change where originally face-to-face method had to be replaced with e-learning method. To facilitate the teaching and learning process in online learning, the teachers use learning management system. One of the learning management systems that is commonly used to facilitate online learning is Google Classroom. One of the universities that have implemented an online learning system using Google Classroom as an online medium is Universitas Pekalongan, especially in 5th semester student of English department. The choice of using Google Classroom have several advantages, and these advantages offered by the platform itself. Thus, the perception will arise because the learning system that usually uses the face-to-face method turns into total online learning. The student perception of this learning process will vary. There will be many perceptions, such as pros and cons of changing the system from English department students while using online learning application in their learning process during pandemic. It has inspired the researcher to focus on exploring more about student perception of their learning process of using Google Classroom, as well as to find out the benefits and the challenges that faced by students while using Google Classroom during the pandemic. And the step of the problem, the first question is, how is student perception on the use of Google Classroom in their own learning process? The second question is, what are the benefits on the use of Google Classroom in the students' learning process at Universitas Pekalongan? And the third question is, what are the challenges faced by students at Universitas Pekalongan on the use of Google Classroom in their learning process? This research design has been conducted by using descriptive qualitative. There are two kinds of data sources. First is primary data. In this primary data, the researcher used questionnaire results from the 31 students of 5th semester and interview with 5 students of 5th semester. Then as secondary data, the researcher used website, journal article that related to the study. The researcher collected data by using questionnaire interview, and for the technique analysis of the data, the researcher will use the Miles theory, Habermas, and Saldana. First is data reduction. In the study, the researcher will collect the data about student perception and find out the benefits and the challenges faced by students. In this data reduction, there are processes of selecting, simplifying, and neglecting needed. Second is data display. In this research, the researcher will present the data in the form of narrative text. And last conclusion, this researcher will conclude the main points from all the data that has been collected. And the result of my data, first is to answer the first question of step of my problem. The first is about student perception. Based on the result from the interview and questionnaire about their perception while using Google Classroom, some students feel that Google Classroom really helped them a lot during online learning process because it's helpful to supporting student online learning process because Google Classroom can be used for submitting assignment, receiving material from lecturer, and doing a discussion with group of friends and lecturer. Also, it's very economical to use because it doesn't require a lot mobile data. And the second is to answer about the benefits using Google Classroom. Based on the result from the interview and the questionnaire about their perception about the benefit using Google Classroom, students felt that Google Classroom can help students to support their learning process. For example, unsubmit assignment features. Students have a benefit to unsubmit their assignment when there is an error while doing the assignment. Google Classroom itself was very economical and efficient to use. And the last, to answer the challenges using Google Classroom. Based on the result from the interview and questionnaire about their perception about the challenges using Google Classroom, students face problems when it comes to discussion online because students have to keep refresh the comments column to get an information update. And for the summary, based on data analysis about student perception on the use of Google Classroom, students have a positive perception. Google Classroom makes it easy to support students in online learning because it has features that can help students. So the use of Google Classroom as a learning medium is very helpful for students during the pandemic. Besides, the use of Google Classroom has other benefits that can facilitate students in online learning. The benefits that students get from using Google Classroom is to reduce learning costs because Google Classroom is very economical and affordable learning platform. On the other hand, students also experience obstacles when learning through Google Classroom. Students felt that Google Classroom is less effective, especially when conducted online discussion. So that's all for my presentation. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.